Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. I try to not take things for granted, to be awed and surprised and amazed by the beauty of life, the everyday of life, and the amazingness of the people I encounter. I was traveling, and two of the flight attendants were discussing something, and then they looked up and stared at me, and they came over and they said, "You're over 2 million miles on this airline." I was like, "Yeah, I'm on my way to 3." And they're like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And they said, "Is this the only airline you fly?" And I'm like, "No, I'm actually a million on all the other major airlines." And they were like, "Oh my God." And so one woman said, "We see men with huge miles, 2 million miles, a million miles. Rarely do we see women with this many miles, and we certainly don't see any sisters." And I was like, and they were like, "How long have you been doing this? How long did it take?" And I was like, "It didn't take that long. I travel a lot." They said, "You must be on a plane all the time, probably more than us." And I'm like, "Actually, yes." It's weird to me now after 2 years of not being in traveling like I typically do. But then when I go back to it, I'm still amazed that I travel this much. It is an amazing thing. I don't want to take it for granted. Taken for granted is a phrase that comes from land grants, and you were given a land grant, but if you didn't improve upon that land over a 20-year period, the land was taken back. And so it had been taken for granted. Uh, the next plane I got on that day, I saw a woman captain, something that I don't typically see. And I was like, "Ooh." And I said, "Could you call her?" I asked the attendant, the flight attendant, if she could call her, and she said yes. And she turned around and I said, "Do you mind if I take a picture of you?" And she said no, and she came out to take the picture. And I was like, eh. And I asked her, "How long have you been flying?" And she's told me how long she'd been flying for that airline, which was like a long time, very long time. She said, "But I started out in 1999. I was a finance major, but I always wanted to fly. And I was told that women couldn't fly." And then she said, and she took a course, and then she said, "I've been flying ever since." It didn't take long to get that amazing story, and I was amazed by it, and I was in awe by it. And I told her I was so proud of her. I was so proud. And then the man behind me said, "I'm proud too." And his wife was like, "Count me in." And we kind of just stood there in this connected moment, realizing how much has happened over time by just doing what you do day in and day out. We are all making history in somebody's life for ourselves and for those around us by doing the day in and day out, by being who we are, by showing up. Don't cease to be amazed or in awe or humbled and proud and grateful for the day in, day out of your own life. We're making history. You just can't see it in the time that it was in. Christians weren't called Christians when they were following Christ. They were just doing what they believed to do. It is an amazing time that we're living in. Don't don't fail to stop and take it in. I love you.